doesn't manipulate. I only listed few of these on the right hand side, but imagination is actually something that you can apply and see what are all the fields that can get affected, and that's where we can actually put our all our resources in the future to make sure that we will save and humanity will save. Thank you very much. Now I request Vasu to take care of it.
Thank you, Gurnath sir. It has been a nice, quick overview of the things that we are currently going on. This is not new for us, and I believe we are prepared this month. What is expected, and then like we prepared human.
Yes, I encourage participants to mute their.
Ashaful, can you control from your end?
Okay.
Solely,
Yeah, can control.
From here.
no, not this. I can roll. Say the participants you can mute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
already.
muted.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your time, first of all. And so myself, Vallabh, I'm managing director. Which I say, welcome. How we accept the challenges basically after COVID-19. So I believe the strong changes which we have to make is first of all, everyone has to upgrade ourselves. So this is what my first slide tells about. So before we jump into the things, let me quickly introduce about our company. So Fitech is a 33 years old German company, and then I started Fitech operations in 2012. We are a motherboard manufacturing company. So we take ARM processors and build motherboards. So system on module and single board computers, these are our primary products which we have been developing through ARM processors basically. And you can see the global presence of Fitech. So small quick history about our success stories. So we worldwide we have executed more than 6,000 projects in which supported the projects. So where in which 2,000 projects has been designed by us, and other projects were designed by our partners and we supported them. So you can see a couple of partners. These are global partners plus customers. So you can see in this what all things we do. System on module, single board computer, Internet of Things, basically embedded imaging, and last the system softwares like the operating systems, Linux or Android operating systems for a customized hardware we built. So today we have 40 plus team in India supporting our global product development. So the best part of our engineering life is basically, so we have a manufacturing line in-house in Fitech, so where in which helps us to bring life to the hardware design what we do. And with this thing, let me start the main topic. So how to overcome, or what are the opportunities for us in India, basically to quickly scale up our expertise and adapt the things to cater to the uh, not only cater, to be prepared for the best and worst post corona. So I just want to have these quick small definitions, I believe. So all of us, we have been going through these jargons called IoT or big data or AIML. So how these things are going to change in our life, or like how these things will be participating in our life, we'll see. So the data which the very first thing is, the data has to be generated, which has to be collected, and then finally we have to learn from the data so that like it helps our life, right? So the first I would very try to simplify IoT definition. So here the IoT has been a buzzword since last 10 years, but before that, like, it has been already into implementation in the industry with a different name, which was called M2M. So basically, it is a communication between machine to machine, but like it used to have very scale. So if you really try to remember history, since when you have been getting your electricity bills. So since I do believe we have been seeing data from normal homes, but from the industries mainly. So there, we're used to the scale of this data sending to the server used to be in hundreds. Today, when we say IoT, we want to have billions of devices need to be connected to the server, and then we have to the mass scale a lot of. So this is how a human brain even works, right? So you start collecting the data since your childhood, and then as much as we start growing, so we start uh, knowingly or unknowingly, we actually fetch those data. Data and try to make decisions. So that's what right now we are doing. Uh, First, we do produce the data using IoT, and then we try to collect this data as much as possible, and then do a meaningful analysis to solve our real-time problems, basically, or life the problems which we face. So coming to the IoT building blocks, if you see, the very first thing is the devices. So from where you have to fetch the data. Uh, Now I would say a very example, which all the cities of India it is available, but like I believe of the tier services, either Ola, Uber, these are the services that are available in India. So let us small example of the use case. So now when I consider Ola as my app, when I open my app, I try to see what all how many tutorial icons, the car icons are available in your app. So now if the thing size, so how this device is present in our app. So if you principally see, not device, actually one of the property of the device which has been read, and it has presented in your virtual phase. So the presence is some property. In our case, the when car, it's not the whole car, but it's a long. The duration of car is what really device. So now how our longitude is by which is nothing but Jeep's device. Right? So one get this data you send sir by using communication protocols. So I don't get into to communication protocols in this talk because we have further series of wherein we will try multiple of the protocols which are available or can use. The one is big data, so which there is a huge data which has to be collected before it is processed. So the data communication is what done through the business problems to solve the business problems and arrive a solution. So that's how, like, once the solution is arrived, you are presented those data user information. So in order to build all these building blocks, below are the IoT elements, you can say, sensors and actuators. So this is how using which you can create a virtual presence of device, right? And in a communication, you can have a device communication, you can have a cloud communication. So these are the different things. So which can be used, and then like finally your cloud infrastructure. Now because of huge data and the privacy stuff, so the security is the main issue. So there are a couple of things which will be also offloaded to the local embedded server, which are normally now called as a edge computing things. And then finally you can have a couple of web applications or Android applications, the mobile applications basically. So how you want to present the data in a meaningful way to solve a problem. So here I would like to introduce Rugged Board, which is open source platform initiative by FITech and by our partners basically. So this is the first of its kind, because we might have been listening lot of open source software projects, but the beauty of this project is open source hardware. So wherein which we wanted to give a platform, open source platform, which can be learned by Indian engineers to cater to the IoT and AIML basically requirements. So the very first difference of this platform is it is based on an industrial grade hardware. So what I mean to say is industrial grade hardware is no need to learn on a X hardware and go to the other hardware when you have to develop the product. So you should be able to learn on a platform which can be used when you start learning something. So normally you take some open source hardwares, and then like once you learn, then you start again your new journey of product development with some other platform. So where here we try to reduce that gap, and where we say that like why not the industrial hardware which are used in product by multiple thousands of companies in the market, why can't be the same hardware and software can be used while learning? Why can't be the same hardware and software can be used with a big dream, we started this platform. The Rugged Board is the platform which is an open source community. So our dream together, it's not our alone, but the partners like you guys. So that's why we wanted to connect to all the universities and colleges in India, and then make this dream true, that like we can produce more than 1 lakh IoT engineers in a very less time. So this is a small goal we with our team has kept to achieve along with our partners. not we alone basically. So we want to produce 1 lakh IoT engineers in India in a very less time. So it could be kind of a 2.5 to 3 years basically to serve the global demand. So coming to the IoT community, as we know, so the very first thing where we are saying as a hardware, because whatever the problems we want to solve, so everything is related to some or the other device, and these devices either at this point of time are smart or they have to made smarter basically. So when I say smart, already sensors and communication channels have been already built in that product, or else the second option is you have to build take a old dumb device, take a small example of your refrigerator which is currently at your home, and then we have to see how can we add on the sensors to make it more smarter, right? So you need a very good platform, a hardware platform on which we can come together, we can make a group of people who can discuss the problems and solve those problems in terms of projects basically. So with our efforts, we were able to do design this industrial grade hardware and the industrial grade software, which is an open source. And then now we are in the third phase, where in which we are trying to transform the ideas of young engineers to the applications or to the solutions faced by the industries. So this can only be possible. This can only be possible when we have a stronger ecosystem. So now when we say stronger ecosystem, as we have already told, we have to build a community. We have to build a community. We have to start discussions. We have to code a lot of things. We have to share our knowledge through wiki. We have to keep most of the things open source so that like people can learn from them. And last but not the least, but we have to train as many as people as we can train, right? So this community, the major difference of this community is because it is backed up by the major industry partners. So in this slide, when you see NXP or TI or ST microcontroller, microelectronics or microchip, so these are the chip manufacturers in embedded domain basically. So because as you know, the first step of your hardware design would start with your chip manufacturer. Obviously there is one more phase before chip manufacturing is a chip design. So we are not looking deep into that, which comes under VLSI or Verilog. So we are starting from the silicon which has been designed and converting it to a product. So these are the silicon partners who are working with us together and whose platforms are available to develop the hardware, software, and get into the product, the final product, which is again mainly the open source hardware and software. Now coming to the cloud, so you know there in India there you can find multiple of cloud providers, but to start your global career or an international way, so you can rely on a couple of guys. So today the big players or the major players in the cloud or connectivity part you can see is the Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. So obviously there are other players like IBM and there are many players, but I would like to say these are the big players who are providing a lot of support to the student community and the university programs wherein which we can skill up, and the same thing can be taken up for your product phase. So the idea behind after doing all this community part is basically to bring the industry demand and the suppliers along with our enablers. So we all comes into enablers category basically. So where in which, so post COVID or like the lifestyle which going to change will demand a lot of automation, and which can be only possible when we listen to these industry demands. These industry demands are created by the people demand basically. So below this industry demand, we have a people, right? The industries are producing the demand of the people basically. So for this, we need a group of enablers who can understand the technologies, and then take the things from the suppliers and build a solution for the industry demands. So this is how we are going to build a big industry community. So I would like to switch to our open source platform, which is Rugged Board, wherein which our idea is to support from a very basic stuff. When say a layman from an engineering background. I mean not to say an uneducated layman basically, but at least a layman from an engineering background. So when I say a student even from a first year or a second year basically, so when they want to build something, it's not that like these guys don't have ideas. So when they have the ideas, how to realize those ideas, how quickly they can transform their ideas to a product, what is the basic tools they can use, is what like one of the first hardware tool we have created, and then the supporting software things which we have done is basically the Rugged Board. So this is a open source hardware. The beauty of this hardware is anyone can produce this hardware without any royalty. So that is the best part. And you have the industrial grade core in the center. You can see this green block, which is an industrial grade SOM. So using this SOM, this is as good as your microcontroller, say name it as a Arduino or kind of a Raspberry Pi basically. And then like you have this dark green section which will be built by the engineers or as per the application need. So these are some technical specs. I don't want to go into deep into this technical specs, but what I can say is this hardware is designed in such a way that today it supports more than thousands of sensors. So you can plug in this sensor, the students or the community people can learn this tool with very ease, say with their basic knowledge of C or Python programming basically. So, and even for computer science guys, they can also use JavaScript, Node.js basically. So they can use C++ or Python or Node.js to program this open source platform and try to solve the real world problems in any industries basically. So say industry 4.0, we will look on the verticals. So the basic idea is you have a ready platform which can be used to convert your idea into a product with ease. So this is very high level. So wherein which you have not only the hardware, but also you have the software ecosystem. You can see Yocto Linux or MRA is an Intel platform. MRA and UPM, these two blue blocks are Intel IoT framework. And then you guys know the applications can be done on these languages basically. So this is a high level ecosystem or the architecture of the Rugged Board. So this is a small, so MRA is you need not to learn Linux. Although this board is running a Linux operating system, you need not to learn a Linux. It is as good as if you have learned your Arduino or any microcontroller. You can use these things because of the library, the MRA library, which helps you out. Similarly, you need not to write codings. So wherein which these UPM libraries which are available to access thousands of sensors which are ready available. You can see the big industry people behind these open source software libraries. You can see the biggest sensor suppliers in automotive or in general embedded, the Bosch or Honeywell or ST Microelectronics or Maxim. So these are the big players who are uh, behind these open source projects, basically. So at the end, I just want to quickly explore you what is the definition or what is the scope for students or faculties in electronics and computer science and also from other streams, basically to upskill ourselves. These are the industries with lot of applications. Either it is a industry 4.0 or it is a mobility, basically. So today you see there is a huge transformation in the mobility domain because of the electric vehicles, basically. Now we know what is the essence of the medical and the healthcare. So all the machineries, I think being a electronics guys, we have already almost we have been users of this, but we never I think many of the students or so might not even have thought that like they would be the developers of these kind of devices or products, basically. So these are a few of the commercial applications. Here I want to end my things, and we would like to more to take up your queries and discuss your thoughts beside this. Thank you. Ashraful?
Uh, Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mr.
Mr.
Vasu,
Vasu,
for
for
your
your
valuable
valuable
inputs
inputs
and
and
the
the
discussions.
discussions.
And
And
like
like
now,
now,
let
let
us
us
go
go
ahead
ahead
with some
with
of the
some of the
questionnaires. I
questionnaires.
would like
I would like
to
to
request
request
everyone
everyone
to put their
to put their
questions if
questions
you have
if you have
anything.
anything.
Some of
Some of
you
you
have
have
already put
already
some
put
of your
some of your
questions on the
questions on the
chat box.
chat box.
I would
I
request
would
others
request
also
others
to
also to
put your
put your
questions on the
questions on the
chat box.
chat box.
Uh,
Uh,
so,
so, uh,
yeah,
yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Sudhanshu,
Sudhanshu,
you have any
you have any
questions?
questions?
If
If
anyone having
anyone
any
having
questions,
any
you can
questions, you
put.
can put.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, question
yeah,
has
question
been
has
started
been
floating
started
now. So
floating
I'll
now,
just
so
take
I'll
one
just
by
take
one.
one by one.
You can
You
write
can
on the
write on
chat
the
box.
chat box.
So let
So
me
let me
take the first
take the first
question.
question.
It's from
It's
Mr.
from Mr.
Umer.
Umer.
He's asking
He's
like
asking like
whether
whether
FITech will be
FITech will be
interested for
interested for
technology
technology
collaboration and
collaboration and
ecosystem
ecosystem
setup
setup
in India
in
and
India and
GCC.
GCC.
Mr. Umer.
Mr.
So
Omer,
that
so
is your question.
that is your
So the
question.
question goes to Mr.
So the
Vasu.
question
Can
goes to
you please reply?
Mr. Vasu. Can you please reply?
Yeah, of course, like this is,
Mr.
Mr.
Vasu, can you
Vasu,
hear
can you
me?
hear me?
am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes,
Hello?
Yes,
yes, you
yes,
are
you are
audible.
audible.
Yeah. So yes, FITech has been prominently supporting a lot of startups, and we have been collaborated already with multiple companies and universities in India. So we we do support technology, and then we support the partners to build up the things, basically. So whether it is uh, a product or a training or any kind of, so we do support a lot of activities.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
one more question
one more question
is like
is
what is
like
the price
what
of
is
the
the
board?
price of the
So the
board?
board,
So the
whatever you
board,
have
whatever you have
mentioned, what is the
mentioned,
price?
what is the price
What are the
and
variants
what are the
available?
variants available?
So as such, this this board currently is sold at a very uh, uh, low price when compared to the industrial hardwares. Basically, so currently it is sold at 2949 as a open source hardware. You can order it from online.
I'll just
I'll just
share
share
the
the
link in
link in
the
the
description,
description
so that
so that
later
later
on
on
you
you
can
can
go
go
through
through
that.
that.
And
So
also
and
I'll
also
put
I'll put
my mail
my
ID.
mail ID.
So if
So
someone
if
want to
someone
purchase
want
the
to
board, you
purchase the
can
board, you can
actually
actually
contact me.
contact me.
So there is Abhijit here. There's one question which is being asked. Is Please brief how AI and IoT can support lockdown situations to handle more effectively due to whatever reasons. I hope you are able to hear me, right?
Sir, I'm able to hear you. I am
Okay.
Akshay. Please.
Yeah, Akshay.
Yes.
So there are a lot of things, Akshay, that and everyone that we as students and faculty can do. For example, you look at quarantine management. Every phone has a fingerprint sensor. You can use your fingerprint sensor. You can develop a very small app wherein on the fingerprint sensor you can validate a user and get him authenticated from Aadhaar and
Yes.
send the lat long coordinates, and if you can raise alerts, that's one very simple way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can look at just like your Arogya Setu, where Bluetooth beacons are being used to track proximity. That is another way.
Yes. Yes.
You can look at how you can sanitize things using ultraviolet.
Okay.
uh, that is another very small thing that can be done.
So that time
uh,
optimization can be done very effectively, and other things where the management will be, because currently we can see that there are many issues which are related to it. So that can be solved, no? With
yes,
this.
that's right. So
Yes.
multiple such things are there. Maybe there's too long to discuss in this forum, but if you
Yes.
want, we can engage separately and discuss a few ideas.
Okay. Okay, sir. So if you can schedule some session related to this later on, webinar, so that we can get some idea out of it in the future. Yes.
Sure, sure,
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. For
sure.
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Avijit, for your question and answer.
Yeah. So
One
thank
more
you, Mr.
question actually
Abhijit, for your question
from
and
Mr. Sudhanshu.
answer.
When we
One more
start,
question actually,
like
from Mr. Sudhanshu. When can we start? Uh, Sorry for the noise.
sorry for the noise.
Yeah. So thing is, one of the
Yeah. So thing is,
person
one of
Mr.
the
Sudhanshu has asked a
person, Mr.
question.
Sudhanshu, has
When can
asked a
we start
question
the
like when can we
Nagpur
start
faculty
the
development
Nagpur
training or
faculty
something like
development
that?
training or
Are we
something like
planning
that?
something in
Are we
Nagpur?
planning something in Nagpur?
Mr. Abhijit, I think you can
Mr.
answer
Avijit,
for
I
this
think you can
question.
answer for this question.
Okay, so yeah, there is a plan wherein we plan to do some online faculty training programs in the near future, especially on two topics of IoT and AI, but not limited to only contactless solutions. We would send out separate emails to everyone and look at the interest. And once we get to know the interest, I think we would take the next steps related to this.
Which facilities are going to provide by you?
Sorry, can you repeat it, please?
Can you please repeat the question?
Abhijit sir,
Repeat the question.
which facilities are by you? I could hear that. I don't know whether I'm
Okay, so I would answer this question in two ways. We do conduct physical training, in the sense we do have facilities where we have an office space and a proper training lab, let me say, where theory plus lab is possible. But now in this changed scenario, whether how practical that would be, we are not sure. So we are retargeting the entire the coursework so that it can be delivered in an online way, wherein we ship the embedded components like the rugged board and all to the potential users, and then we carry out an online webinar, and we work in an interactive mode. Maybe the batch size would be limited, so that is still work in progress. But to answer your question, in normal circumstances, we would have had a physical, lab-like course for 4 to 8 weeks, or 10 weeks, or 12 weeks, depending upon the interest.
Is it possible to conduct, sir, some seminars or the training at our institute?
It is possible. Definitely, it is possible to conduct it at your institute post probably the lockdown period.
Okay, after lockdown period.
Yes.
How much cost may be going to?
I think that's a question which we can take it up offline. I will share my email address with you on costing to answer it very simply.
Okay. Okay.
So one query was there by regarding a platform called Bolt IoT, I believe. So where I can see here the Bolt IoT has been an additional small PCB around ESP. We know this company from Hyderabad. I believe they have been funded by uh, uh, Microsoft or Google guys basically. So the idea I can see here, this is a Wi-Fi based module, Bolt IoT. I don't know whether they have the processor based, but both of them were mainly on the connectivity part. So the rugged board is entirely different. It is from a general embedded category. So where you have a Atmel microprocessor as a core processor, but it is not a limitation. So this is our first design as a part of rugged board, but we will be doing a lot of other open source hardwares which are more powerful, and maybe like in near future we can also build a couple of hybrid models like with FPGA or like say the latest RISC-V architecture kind of hardwares. So the rugged board is more from an industrial application side.
Yeah.
One more question. Do you provide any certifications
for
for
this
this
webinar
webinar
for
for participating?
So for
So
this,
for this, I think I can tell you, we will be providing certificates, online certificates. If it is required, we can give. So for that,
it is on demand
yeah, it
basis,
is
so we do
on
not
demand
send it to
basis. So we do
everyone.
not send it to
Only the
everyone.
people who
Only the
request
people
through
who
a mail
request
to me,
through a mail to me
or to our team, we can
to our
send
team,
you
we
the
can send you
online
the
certificate.
online
And or
certificate.
the people
And
who
or the
want
people
a
who
physical
want a
copy of the
physical copy
certificate,
of the certificate,
they have to request as a
they have to
physical copy,
request as a
and
physical
they have
copy,
to
and
do
they have to do a
payment of 400 rupees.
payment of 400
So
rupees.
after
So
payment, we will be
after
shipping
payment,
the
we will be
hard
shipping
copy of
the
the
hard
certificate
copy of the
for
certificate
this
For
for
online,
this
for online certificate, is there any payment fees?
For
for
online
online
certification,
certification. You have to give me the request. I'll
I'll
send a
send a
free
free certificate
certificate
for you.
for you.
Free request on which mail?
In
In
the
the
chat
chat
box,
box, you can see like
mail IDs is there. So
mail
you
IDs
can
is there.
not
So
here.
you
You do
can
not send them.
not here. You do not
Send your
send
mail
them.
IDs in
Send
the
your
chat
mail IDs
box. You
in the
send a
chat
mail
box.
to me.
You
I'm
send a
writing my
mail to
mail
me.
ID.
I'm writing my mail ID.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
writing
writing
my
my
mail
mail
ID in
ID in
chat
chat
box.
box.
You
Careful,
can send me there.
I think in the registration link also we have the common mail ID basically, so you
Okay.
can
Yes, in the
Yes, in the
registration
registration
link
link
also it
also
is
it
there.
is there.
Hmm. So on that link we have to send the request. Okay.
Okay. I think
Okay.
we can go to the
I think
next
we can go
question.
to the next question.
Okay.
Okay.
Innovative
Innovative
contactless
contactless
solutions is
solutions is
theoretically
theoretically
work for the
work for
present
the
problem, but
present problem,
how it
but
is
how it
possible to
is
implement?
possible to implement?
Yeah, let
Mr. Vasu, if you have got the question.
me take the question.
Mr.
Mr.
Vasu, if
Vasu,
you
you
have
have
got
got
the question.
Praful, can
Gunnar sir,
you?
you can take it up, and then like maybe I can.
Yeah. See, the thing is that today it is anything is possible. Only the imagination is the limitation. If you guys all remember that some time back we were not able to open our doors without some key coming in, but now you have automated doors. So how the automated doors? It's the technology, and it is your ability to experiment with your thoughts. So basically anything and everything that has a possibility of automation achieve contactless but we need whose ability so that main intent is reason we are having all seminars now. The confidence that you gain things is what makes this possible. It is nothing else. Okay, so I think it's not here anymore. We need people who can build things from scratch. We need people who can actually demonstrate the solutions and take it to the market. So these are all possible only if we change our attitude, start working towards selflessly and building the solutions.
Just to add on, Gunnar sir. So if you really see the technologies which has been there in the market, I worked on augmented reality somewhere around 8 years back, and the features in market but more than basically. If you are to device, all the percent respond, but respond like today you will talk with Alex or these basic. So a simple basic fundamentals you say, or data processing, your voice processing, very basic fundamentals which are already COVID-19 is a breaking examples. Now they go into real world product example. Yes, there are some challenges, but I believe those are not really far away.
Okay, so is it done? If there are more questions,
Yeah, I think we are almost done, and I request everyone. So last request is, if you have some more questions, or if you have something related to any projects or something like that, I request you to put a drop a mail, or you can visit our website www.ruggedboard.com, and mostly you will find the most of the doubts will be cleared actually. Also, there is one website. I'll just show you, run through the websites.
Yeah, I think we are almost done, and
question?
I'll just run through you the websites.
Ashraful, I believe we can share the details on in the registration mails.
Yes,
I believe
yes,
we have contacts of all the things, all the participants.
yes,
I
yes.
believe it's good that if we can send those informations, and then like uh, next week we can next week beginning we want to have a complete technical session for which we would like to take a couple of inputs from the participants and then make it more useful or interesting for the people.
Yes, yes, correct.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I believe it's okay.
Okay, fine.
Fine.
So
So
just
just
wanted
wanted
to
to
show
show you
you
this
this website.
website.
So,
So
if
if
someone is
someone is
feeling
feeling like
there
there
might
might
be
be
how
how
much
much
hard
hard
to
to
program
program
or
or what to do, what to do,
you'll
you'll
be
be
definitely
definitely
knowing
knowing
about it in
about
the
it in
next
the next
upcoming
upcoming
sessions. So this
sessions.
is the
So this
first
is the first
session.
session.
So in the
So in
next
the next
upcoming session,
upcoming
we'll be
session, we'll
doing
be
some
doing some
hands-on
hands-on
activities
as well,
and also
and
we'll be
also we'll be
showing
showing
the
the
background
background
basically, all
basically, all
the
the
layouts,
layouts,
schematic or
schematic or
software
software
architecture,
architecture,
everything will be
everything will be
showing you.
showing you.
So I'll
So
be
I'll be
sending
sending
everyone
everyone
one
one
of
of
the
the
reminder
reminder
mails
mails
to
to
everyone,
everyone,
and
and
also
also
you
you
can
can
come
come
to
to
our
our
record board
record board
website,
website. So
community.recordboard,
community.recordboard,
and
and
here you
here
can
you can
actually follow
actually
up
follow
for
up for
your
your
events. So
events.
if
So
you
if you
see
see
here
here
events, if you
events, if you
play,
play,
so you can
so you
see
can
your
see your
upcoming
upcoming events and you can
register
register
anytime. So if
anytime.
you
So if
don't
you
get a
don't
mail
get a
from
mail
us
from us
also,
also,
you can
you
directly
can
come to
directly
this
come to
website
this
and
website and
register here.
register here.
Okay,
Okay,
then
then
I
I
think
think
we're
we're
done.
done.
If
If
something
something
is
is
there,
there,
maybe
maybe
you
you
can
can put
some
some
questions
questions
later
later
on
on
in
in the
mails.
mails.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And
And
especially
especially
thank
thank
you
you
to
to
Mr.
Mr.
Vasu
Vasu
and
and
Mr.
Mr.
Gurunath
Gurunath
and
and
Mr.
Mr.
Abhijit
Abhijit
for
for
arranging
arranging
this
this
session.
session.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, sir.